here we are, Journey to Self, episode 10, live on Jess FM. And yeah, I just want to take a moment to express my gratitude for the opportunity to be in this space, to have this platform to express myself and whatever that means in any given moment. It feels I like this term. I'm going to stick with it. It feels pregnant with possibility. So, yeah, thank you, Jesse. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to all the people that make Jess FM tick. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate this opportunity. So, let's get into our Monday. Yesterday was Earth Day. Earth Day is one of my personal favorites. I'm not quite sure why it's not an official holiday, but I love it. I always make a point of talking to my kids, telling them that it's Earth Day for whatever that's worth. Having a little bit of conversation about different ways that we can give back and be helpful and what that looks like. I always make it a point to get outside and be outside. Yesterday, I didn't find it particularly warm. I was wearing 2 pairs of pants and 3 layers on my top and a toque and still my winter boots. So I was a little bit cranky about being cold. I don't do cold very well, and it typically makes me cranky. But that's okay. We still had the experience, and we typically go and pick up garbage and give back to the earth that way. Previous years we've planted a tree. The most memorable was the year my father-in-law passed. We took his ashes and planted an apple tree in our backyard, and we called them papple trees because we called him Papa. So it's the anniversary of the day we planted our papple tree, and it's doing quite lovely. So yeah, I just really love Earth Day. So I'm going to play a song today, and the song's going to have sound this week on Just FM. That's my goal. I just found this one when I was looking through YouTube, and I just remember a point in my life when this song was playing, and it was a really healthy point. I was, I don't know, maybe 21 or something, and I was like the healthiest I'd been in a long time, and I don't know why that's relevant, but I feel like it is. So here's this song. Facebook Live, we're listening to Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow on Jess FM, so you should tune in on Jess FM so you can hear the songs too. They're pretty relevant to my life, and every song I pick typically has a story. This one in particular, I don't really remember. A significant person in my life was re-entering, and I was trying to decide where I was going to let that go and what role I wanted that to have, because my heart said one thing and my head said another thing. And I knew for the greater good of my life path, I had to walk away. And so, I could just feel the moments in my life where I was listening to this and still trying to hold on to what I really, really wanted to be true for me. And not choosing that choice. So, yeah. I really like this song. I love picking music because it takes me right down memory lane. Like I'm very in tune, and all of my senses are pretty magical. But when I hear a song, like I can just go right back there. Or the same with smell. If I smell a certain smell, it's like I'm reliving it. So that can be a blessing and a curse. I remember sitting in a group of people last year, and good morning. That smell of crowds, like that almost sweat smell, cologne-y smell, actually triggered a habitual response in my body last year, and I had to pull myself out and remind myself that I wasn't in a dangerous situation. So side note, yeah. So, yeah, I just enjoy, sometimes I enjoy making space for the memories and the feelings, and even in that instance where it triggered something not so positive in my body, it was a great reminder to my body that just because it's got a stress trigger response or a traumatic memory or whatever that may be, I'm not necessarily in that situation, and I'm not that person anymore. And so I can look at it from a place of love and knowing. Danica, so on like Facebook or on Just FM? Or like you can still hear it on Facebook and I'm going to get in trouble. Is that what you're saying? That's probably true. All right, so we'll see if Facebook allows me to post this video after, but that's okay. What country? I'm in Canada. So yeah, we were just taking a little trip down memory lane in my brain and the recognition that you can't see inside my brain, but that's okay. Just know that it was a good little, it doesn't even just happen in my brain. Like I can feel it in my body. I can feel the memories. I can feel the excitement. I can feel the question and the calling and the uncertainty and the invitation to choose self. And I'm happy to report on this side of things, I did choose self, and it made a big difference in my world. Yeah. Trust, right? That's what it's all about. Trust, 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 trust. Hey, Just FM. That was Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow picture. And I took my viewers on Facebook Live a little bit down memory lane inside my body-mind for that experience, because that's a gooder. And I just happened to stumble across it while I was looking for songs to play this morning on YouTube. And I know enough about the universe to just trust them when they pop up and see where that takes me. It takes me down a completely different road than I kind of thought that I would be on. I am fully confident that all roads lead to self. So just just a little, I don't know, confirmation that you can't get it wrong. So for those of you sitting out there contemplating some big life choice or change or whatever it is, even if it's little, you can't get it wrong. You just can't get it wrong because you always have the opportunity to choose again. And how powerful is that? How magical is that? So when you're, this is as much for me as it is for everyone else. When you're stuck in a choice, just drop from your head into your heart and choose. Good morning, Megan. And just make a choice because you really can't get it wrong. So taking that song and that memory and where I was at in my life, it was a hard choice, a love story, if you will, to stay where I was because I was wildly and passionately in love with a completely different person who had different life goals and different ways of being, and it really didn't jive, and so it took a lot to choose self, and I did, and I know that I made the right choice for me and my son, and I don't look back. And that's not to say I don't wish that person well or have kind, fond thoughts and memories, because I most certainly do. But I made the right choice for me in that moment and for my family. So no regrets, but it's sure fun. I don't know if that's the word. It's sure therapeutic to go back and feel all those feels and still know that I chose for me. So someone is asking what my specialization is, and I don't adhere to a title. I specialize in bringing things home to self and coming back inside of my body to choose my life path. I have, the I am that I subscribed to most when I started Journey to Self was a magic maker. I still subscribe to that under many different umbrellas. I'm an energy worker, a healer, a psychic, a medium. I do thermography and meta health. I help people get to the root cause of an emotion or a physical symptom and help their body release it and recognize habitual responses as opposed to subscribing to necessarily medication or symptomology or woundology per se. So I'm a little bit of everything and nothing all rolled into one. And the I am that I am changes moment to moment. It's completely in flux, and I reserve the right to choose and choose again. So if you ask me tomorrow what I specialize in, it could be something completely different. So this feels like a good time to say that the opinions and views that I share here are those of mine and mine alone. They don't reflect anybody on Just FM. They just reflect me and my journey to self. And my disclaimer is always, I reserve the right to change my mind moment to moment. So if I am really firm about something today, maybe I'm not so firm about it tomorrow, and that's perfectly okay, and I invite you to do the same. I read something on Facebook this morning about maturity, and the first thing it said was the ability to stay with a job and get it done. And that's not my definition. Like, there was more to it, but that was the first part of it. And I thought, oh no, that's not maturity. That's like endurance or stamina, but that's not maturity. I view maturity as the ability to look inside oneself and be like, yeah, this isn't for me, period, and stand up and as Mandy always says, vote with your feet and get out of there, because my ability to endure something is by no way reflects my maturity level. And I would argue that if you're still sitting there pretending that you're happy just to finish the job, just to stick with it, just to appease that voice in your head or that person in your head that's like, if you started something, you have to finish it. I invite you to get really curious about who that's honoring, because that's not my story anymore. There was a time in my life, and there are still moments in my body mind that are like, oh, but you started it, and nope. If my body mind says it's time to go, it's time to go. And that's part of my journey to self, is honoring myself in every given moment. And when my soul is screaming to get out, well, no, that's not true. I aspire to listen when I whisper, so that I don't have to scream at myself anymore. And there was a point in my life where I had to scream really loud for me to listen, and that's not my story anymore. Being a social woman, what types of challenges I have faced in human society? Oh, wowzers. Challenges. The ability to stand in my truth, voice shaking, knees quaking, bowels rumbling, and honor where I'm at and speak my truth. And if that means there's tears rolling down my face or rage pumping through my body, staying with myself and honoring where I'm at. Knowing, so another challenge is knowing that despite living in a medical model world, that the emotions, trauma, symptoms, whatever that rolls through me is for my own evolution. And so I could subscribe to the medical model, and I could go somewhere and I could explain all of my symptoms, and I could walk out with my prescription, and I could take my pills and pretend that what's moving through me isn't moving through me. But I know that what moves through me is for my own evolution. Good morning. The introduction is Journey to Self. My name is Bobby Farrell, and I really just talk about whatever's moving through me in any given moment. The topics are usually healing, health, using emotion to guide your life, staying present to what's moving through you, and living an internally referenced life as opposed to looking externally for validation, and whatever that looks like for me in any given moment is usually the topic. This morning, thank you for asking, because I have talked a few times about emotions and using them as energy and information inflow in my body, and using them for what they're meant for. So to get really quiet and present and listen to what's happening, and maybe use that to change my life, maybe use that to transform my world, maybe use that to sit down, shut up, and stay present to what's moving through me and get that lesson, or even just enjoy the moment. Sometimes it's like, I often, when the sun is shining and my body feels called inward, I feel the impulse to maybe argue with that and not go inward and go outside and be in the sunshine instead. And so it's really just staying present to what I need. So meditation also, yes, I do a lot of meditation. I don't typically do it on the radio because I don't know where people are at. So for meditation, I would encourage you to follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Goddess Inclusive. I just don't know where people are listening from. So I've thought often of doing a meditation, and I might do some with a huge disclaimer that people, pull over or stop what they're doing and just find a quiet moment to tune into self. So a lot of the conversations that we have, okay, good. A lot of the conversations that I have here are kind of meditative in theory, because I often say, drop out of your head and into your heart and live your life from there. And my body actually has a habitual response now that as soon as I even say those words, I can feel the physical like drop into self, and the connection, like my energetic being kind of sends out all the feelers, and so I can get a good read on the space just even saying those words now. So that feels like a step forward in my little world. So last week we talked about, I challenged myself to not let emotions or weather dictate my day, and tune into self and drop into my body and drop into my heart and live my life from there. And food and eating from a place of what does my body want, not what does my mouth want. And a lot of that feels radical in an externally referenced world. So it's been a beautiful experience. I have risen to the challenge, whatever the hell that means, and managed to stay present to self, more often than not, when choosing my choices. So today I really want to go back to emotions and allowing people to see us fully in our realness and what that looks like. So I had a conversation last week with two amazing women who happened to be mothers, and we were talking about emotions and whether or not we let our children see them, and moral value is important, or religion is important in society. I find it very important to stay present to self in society, because I see a lot of external referencing. So people looking outward to see where they fit and not looking inward to see what they can offer. I choose, for me, not wanting to fit into the mold anymore, but stay present to who I am and what I have to offer. Yeah. So I was having a conversation with these women about our emotions, and so I told the story of last year when all of my emotions were running fast and strong and furious and just flowing out of me in all sorts of wild and wonderful ways, and honoring that. And so I was crying in front of my children. I was crying in front of them. Hi, Sandy. I was just really staying present to myself. So sometimes it was grief, sometimes it was sorrow, sometimes it was trauma, sometimes it was fear, sometimes it was anger. And I had no choice but to let them see, because it was moving through me so quickly and so often that there was really no chance to hide. But also the knowledge that I don't choose to hide that. And what it has offered my family is the real life, moment to moment presence of feeling what you're feeling and honoring where you're at. And my 5-year-old, then 4, looked at me then and said, "It's okay, you're just moving your emotions." And I thought, wow. The question was, why am I still crying? So I was, why am I still crying? And he's like, "It's okay, Mom, you're just moving your emotions." And I was just like, then I was crying harder, just out of pure joy and happiness that I had given them this beautiful perspective on all of the full range of emotions. And it wasn't a beautiful experience while it was moving through me. It was messy and scary and crazy and overwhelming. But on this side of it, wow, it was a beautiful experience because I offered them all of that. And I offered them, you know, presence during that and the visual of honoring self where you're at. So yeah, there were moments when um, it wasn't pretty parenting, and we may have binged on Netflix, and but I taught them to honor themselves and meet themselves where they're at, and not judge the process, and really that is mind-blowing because I can recall moments in my childhood knowing that people were unhappy, feeling that they were angry or sad or whatever was moving through them. And seeing that they were putting on this happy face and knowing that that didn't jive, that didn't make sense, and they weren't being authentic, and knowing that in my body. So what's the subject? The subject is Journey to Self. That is the title of my show, and it's really just a present day conversation to staying with what moves through your body, using your emotions and the energy and information inflow inside your body to guide your life and stay present to what's moving through you, and to drop from your head into your heart and know that your life is about you and my life is about me, and you really can't get it wrong. Maybe that's vague. But I'm okay with that. So these other women were shocked that I would show all of that to my children. I think they were shocked in a good way, and maybe in a, yes, please do. Hopefully in a way that kind of moves them to explore what's meaningful for them. But the conversation, like, they were blown away at the fact that I would let my children, young and old, see and feel me right where I'm at. And I would show them anger, and I would show them sorrow, and I would show them grief. And I would show them sometimes there's not sometimes there's not words, one single word to wrap up what moves through me in any given moment. But it's, my view of it is it gives them permission to just be real and honor where they're at in any given moment. And that to me would have been a great gift in my life, to just be able to honor. Do you personally wish you had been exposed to more sorrow and grief as a child, or less? I believe I was given exactly what I needed to be given to get to this point. I am very grateful for the ways in which I figured it out. So it wasn't necessarily modeled to me the way that I'm modeling it, but I believe that it was modeled to me the way that I needed it to be modeled. So all of it contributed to where I am right now in this moment, and it was exactly what I needed it to be for my own evolution. So I certainly wouldn't wish for more sorrow and grief. I didn't understand my ability to feel as a child. I didn't know words like empath and the fact that I could see and feel and know and do and be all of these things was not embraced or even talked about. So a lot of the things that I felt and I knew, I had to go through life and I guess experience and come to a place of knowing within my body. And so yeah, the short answer to the question is it was what I needed. Sorrow and grief were not good feelings for me. Knowing and experiencing are different. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I don't know of anyone who loves sorrow and grief. I am finally at a point in my life where I can recognize them for the gift that they are. So whilst going through them, they may not feel good or I may not enjoy the experience, but I know now that they are for my own evolution. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, going back to my conversation, of these mothers not showing their emotions to their children and not being modeled emotions, they were kind of blown away at the fact. And so when I told them that my 4-year-old looked at me and said, "It's okay, Mom, you're just moving your emotions," you could see physically and hear by the gasp them touching them somewhere in side of themselves, and it was profound. And I'm excited to kind of touch base with them and see what that kind of unlocked inside of them in terms of their own worlds, their own evolution, their own parenting, their own experience with themselves even. It was a wildly meaningful conversation, divinely timed, for myself and hopefully for them. And another perfect example of not listening to the energy and information inflow in our body, I had a client on the weekend who presents with a diagnosis of depression and anxiety. They are currently on a medication to help them control. Yep, that word was put there for a reason. Control whatever's happening, right? So to fix the imbalance. And so right off, like as soon as I connected, there was no doubt in my mind. There was not a single part of this being that was depressed or confused or anxious or any of those titles. It was just a simple case of not listening. So I explained what I felt was moving through, and they confirmed all of it. And it was an overall irritability, frustration, dissatisfaction with their current existence. And just saying it out loud, it was absolutely confirmed. And the recognition that they knew this. They could identify with this. They had these thoughts of no, I just need this, this, and this. But then put the guilt on top of that and the story on top of that. And, like, let's just keep putting things on top of this because I shouldn't feel this. And then, right? So if we stay present to what's moving through our body, the truth is we're bloody brilliant. We know what we know. Salem, I'm not going to call you right now. I'm in the middle of a show. So, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. I was taught, I was modeled that we need to fix everything. And especially emotions. So if you feel this, let's use depression, and you want to feel happiness, then you do this, and this, and this, and this, and you get happy. Maybe it comes out of a bottle. Hey, maybe it comes out of a bottle. Maybe it comes out of a pill bottle. Maybe it comes out of whatever. But so you fix it. And I know the truth for me now is if I feel depressed, I feel it. I make space and time in my day, life, moment, being, device, body, mind, to feel the depression and listen to what it has to say. Because I know that it wasn't just flicked there, right? Like, it's there for a reason. There is a purpose. And if I stay present to it, it can whisper, you're depressed. Or whatever, like there's information moving. If I ignore it, it has to scream at me. It has to find different ways to speak louder so I will listen. And if that means it manifests physically as dis-ease in my body, that means I missed the whisper. I missed the shout. And I want to show my children how to listen to their bodies and what that looks like and feels like, and how that can be a beautiful compass in which to navigate their worlds. Yep. So I'm going to play the song that I didn't get to play last week because I forgot to unmute it. So Jess FM, here is my absolute favorite from ABBA. Yeah. We're listening to Mamma Mia on ABBA. I absolutely love it. It makes me smile. So yeah, Facebook Live. Good morning. Yeah, I was just taking a moment there. I'm playing a song on Just FM. So I was just taking a moment to check in with myself and see where I'm at, because I've been talking for 40 minutes about emotions again. Awesome. Yeah, music does help. I can't play music on Facebook or they shut down my videos. And so there's music on Just FM, and it's fabulous and it makes me smile. Oh, thanks, CJ. I miss your face. It's been a really long time since I've seen you. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. So, Facebook Live. What can I tell you that Jess FM won't hear? Uh, I really wish that I'm going to tell you this, Facebook Live. I'm going to tell you that I wish Facebook would let me. They are distracting me. I wish Facebook would let me play the music because it completely adds, in my mind, and that's really what this is all about, to my journey to self. Because typically every song I pick is some sort of trip down memory lane for me. And so this particular one, any ABBA would be when my mother was getting ready to go out. We lived in Europe for a chunk of my childhood, from the ages of 8 to 12. And like if she was going like out for the evening, she'd be like getting ready and doing her makeup and playing some ABBA really loud and singing out loud. So I would follow her around the house and watch her get ready and listen to ABBA with her. And yeah. So my mother passed 14 years ago. And so I enjoy any memory where I get to go back in my body mind and be with my mother, and ABBA can do that for me in an instant. And I know when she's physically with me, sometimes by what plays on the radio. That's one of the ways in which we have our little silly afterlife conversations. So yeah, just a little glimpse into my journey, because that's what this is, Journey to Self with Bobby Farrell. And I'm nothing if not raw and real and in the moment. Really? Right? Something. I don't know. Hey.